Good morning, ATD family. We are back for another episode. Spring training has officially started. First games were yesterday or a couple of days ago, whenever this is getting dropped. I can never keep track of it anymore. Bill throws me curveballs on a regular basis, like the baseball reference in there. We are here. We are excited. Baseball is officially back. I am pumped. The football hat is off. The baseball cap is back on. We are going to get this going. Grand Slam Sam, Baseball Bill here, talking all things baseball going into the season. We're going to start this off as we always do. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful morning?
I'm doing amazing. I'm wearing our new shirt, or We Are Family shirt, along with our corporate sponsors on the back. I'm ready to go, man. We had an event on Friday night at Ruby's Diner in Laguna Beach. We had a cornhole thing on Saturday in at Bruheim and Anaheim. It's been awesome. It's been awesome.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned those corporate sponsors on the back of that shirt that you got
Yes,
going on. Can you drop me some of those corporate sponsors that are
you
lucky
bet.
enough to support us?
You bet. So you may recognize one or two of them. Third one you may not. So let's start with the one that you probably won't. So I want to give a shout out to our good friend Josh over at Drunken Gentleman Clothing Line. They do a great job. They got some great hoodies. These guys are pretty cool over there. Our second sponsor is Ruby's Diner. Ruby's Diner Laguna Beach comes in big with a corporate sponsor for Top Fan, and these sponsorships make these shows possible, and it's amazing what these guys can do. And finally, Sam, I don't know if you've heard of this company, but down here in South Orange County, Dunkin' Donuts decided that they wanted to sponsor Top Fan Rivalry.
Dunkin'
So
Donuts in South Orange County has decided to sponsor TFR.
decided to sponsor TFR.
Am I going to start getting some Dunkin' Donuts gift cards thrown my way now? I've been
By the
waiting
time
for
they get to you,
this.
man, they're gonna be a little stale. But hey, we'll work. We'll
I
see what we
mean,
can
I
do.
mean, the great thing nowadays is gift cards are virtual, man. I mean, you
Yeah,
could
that
shoot me that sucker
preach.
over real quick, ends up in my text message, adds it to my account, builds up the points. Love it. Um, Bill, like Bill said, we are so thankful for our corporate sponsors, Ruby's Diners, Drunken Gentlemen's Clothing, and Dunkin' Donuts of South Orange County in in California. Obviously, I've heard of Dunkin'. Haven't been to South Orange County in California in a while since last time I saw Bill. Gonna get back out there. Gonna go meet our corporate sponsors hopefully soon. We thank you. We appreciate you. Keep sponsoring us. We'll keep putting out great products for you. We're going to jump right into the show today with a watch that is no longer on our radar.
Radar screen.
Alex Bregman, the watch is over. Bregman has agreed to a short term, I believe it was a 3-year deal in the $120 million range, going to Boston. Bill, thoughts on this trade, on this signing?
So a couple of thoughts. Um, number one, I initially liked it because I thought, oh boy, you're going to do some good in Boston. I saw the numbers, maybe a little overpriced. Breckman did himself a good thing though. He got 40 mil tickets to be there for 3 years. Since then, we've had a little drama, right? Rafi Devers hasn't decided that he likes this too much, although I have a hard line on that. Sam, I would, if I was Alex Cora, I'd say I'm the manager, you're the player, you'll play where I want you to play. Otherwise, I'll sit you down and I'll make sure that ownership keeps you sat down for the whole year. So besides for that, I mean, I like this trade. This is a good one for him. What about you?
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think Bregman needed a fresh start. I think Boston is a great town and a great area for him to be in. Passionate, super, super passionate fan base. Um, with his hitting style, he's definitely gonna do well in Beantown. Um, my feelings on the whole Devers thing is I think he may have jumped the gun when making his comments about the position change. Bregman came in and said, like, I'm here to play wherever you want. They're even listing him right now as a second baseman. not even listing him at third. So I think Devers was kind of overzealous with his
Yeah,
statement. Um, because I mean, they just signed him to a major contract last year. The last thing they're going to do is just put this man out to pasture. He's one of the best third basemen in baseball. And we're going to get into that, which is our big topic of the day. We'll give it a little time to build up the excitement.
little
But
bit of time.
Bregman is the guy that can you know change his positions on the infield fairly easily. He's got the skill set. He's played second. He's played third. He's touched short. I think first might be the only area where they would have concern putting him. But I think on any of the other big three positions on the infield, the three real big positions, in my opinion, I think he could slide in there as a fill-in whenever needed. And I also think this is great for Devers because it's gonna allow Devers to get a couple of days off and still have a premier third baseman in that position. You know, so I like it. I was actually high on the Red Sox taking Bregman. Um, I know we had a little back and forth about this a couple of weeks ago with where he really would go. Um, but I really, really like this for him, especially for
Yeah,
the next 3 years. I mean, look, 35, he got $5 million signing bonus, average annual salary is 40 million a year, and he has the opt out at the end of this year, which is
which is
something
stupid.
that Boris has been really high on with his players. Boris has been very high on this with his players, and I think the reason why they did this is because if there's a third base position open on another team, it's got that's coming up next year. It's gonna give him the opportunity to go out there and get an even bigger contract. Do I think that'll happen? Probably not. But I'm not where where Boris has done this previously. I'm not as opposed to it here.
Yeah. If Bregman does that, so first of all, Bregman's what, 31, 32, something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
he's 30 years, 10 months, and 23 days. Thank you, Spot Track, for our statistics in that.
Shout out Spot Track. So
Shout out Spot
how
Track.
many hours, how many minutes? No, he
No,
uh
8 years in the league,
yeah,
number
so
two overall
he's
pick in 2015.
yeah, he's this will be his age 31 season. And if he again, if he continues to produce like he's produced, if he thinks he's going to get a big 7 year, $300 million contract or $200 million contract, in order for him to do that, he needs to hit 30 home runs this season. He needs to knock in over 100 RBIs and he needs to hit 275 ish or so. And he hasn't done that since like 19, or I mean, since 2019 when it was the Astros fastball, right? And
Yeah.
so
Now, I am curious because I am not aware of it. Is he a left-handed hitter or a right-handed
right-handed
hitter?
hitter. He's going to use that monster
Okay.
as a ping pong table.
Yeah. And I don't think we'll see as many home runs from him in Boston as we will outside. I think we're going to see the majority of his home runs either hitting that center field mark in Boston or he's going to crush his home run number on on the away schedule. Um, but I definitely think I agree with you completely. He's going to use that green monster as a major ping pong. He's going to hit it high on the monster. He's going to ping it out into center field. That's going to bounce in, getting closer to the shortstop. It's going to allow him a high double, high triple rating. Um, which I think is good for him. He's got the speed behind him to make it valuable as out there in Beantown. So
You
yeah,
bring up a good point about this contract that Scotty Boras likes to do with Brickman. The one thing that bothers me about this, Sam, and I'm not going to lie to you, and I know we're only 10 minutes in the show, but I'm going to get cranky here. Um,
You can get
the
cranky whenever you want.
Yeah, there
You're
you
the
go.
co-host, so
There you go. So the thing that makes me frustrated about this is it shows zero team loyalty, zero team loyalty. And so you're going to take $40 million from a team and then say, oh, by the way, I might get a team that might pay me $41 million over the next 7 years. If you do well in Boston for the next 3 years, Boston's going to pay you again. So why not just have some loyalty? But it drives me nuts because I mean we saw this with your boy Blake Snell who signed late. He went to the Giants, didn't have a great season. Fans didn't appreciate him as much up there. He bounced. And so I may be one of the only Dodger fans in the history of Dodger fandom right now that isn't excited about Blake Snell. But again, there's not a lot of loyalty there. Show me some loyalty.
yeah. I think, you bring up Blake Snell, and I think part of his thing was the uncertain. I think part of the reason why he left and didn't opt back in or agree to an extension with the Giants was um, the real uncertainty of knowing what the front office was going to look like moving forward. They brought in Buster shortly after getting rid of Farhan. But when you bring in a player president but like they did with Buster, there's this uncertainty and unfamiliarity. And look, Blake Snell's in a win now mode. He wants to win a championship. I don't, as upset as I am as a Giants fan that he left, I get where he's coming from.
Mhm.
So, you know,
Yeah. It's
it's a tough situation for him to be put into, especially especially with the unknown of knowing the guard change in that front office.
So I'm going to make another comment, and this has nothing to do with Brickman. This has everything to do with the players these days. Okay, Sam, you you were
I love
raised
when
in
we
a
call out the players, by the way. It makes me very happy.
yeah, Sam, you were raised in a very comfortable environment. I mean, you guys weren't extremely wealthy. I've met your dad, but you were comfortable. The heat went on when you needed it, the air conditioning went on when you needed it.
Yeah.
That being said, that being said. Alex Bregman is making $40 million this year. Okay, we'll just use him as an example. That's a little over $3 million a month. Okay, now $3 million could be generational money, right? But imagine for a second, Sam, if in March you got paid $3 million after taxes, you cleared 3 million. Okay, imagine if you and your wife spent all that money, you paid off your house, you bought a couple of cars and everything, but then in April there's another 3 million that came in. And then in May there's another 3 million that comes in. And then in June there's
Hmm.
another 3 million. And that happens for the next 36 months. You can't spend all that money. That's generational money, and that's not including what he's made before. So at this point, I think the players are playing almost for ego because some of these guys have made three, four, $500 million in their careers, and they're talking about how maybe we're underpaid, yada yada yada. No, 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 no. It's generational money. Sam, if I handed you $3 million check on March 1st and I said, don't worry, this is going to happen every month for the next 36 months, your entire life changes. True?
You, you, you have no idea. No
Yeah.
idea. And
I
I agree
mean,
with you. You know, I think there are the players. There's definitely been a changing of the guard
yeah.
from, as we go, let's go decade by decade. Let's
Mhm.
just make it really, really
Yeah.
simple. Between the 1890s when baseball first came into fruition through 1970s, 1980s,
Mhm.
players played for a team for almost their entire career. They didn't go places, they weren't traded, they weren't leaving, they weren't going from here to here. One of the big guys who I think of that made his move, I'm taking it from a homer's perspective, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds left the Pirates, who were willing to offer him a lot of money, and he
Sure.
came to San Francisco. Now, obviously, he had legacy, he had history. Willie,
In San Francisco,
his
yeah.
dad, you know, McCovey, all of that. He had a legacy in San Francisco he wanted to continue with his family. But I almost look at that time frame as being the changing of the guard, the 1990s to the 2000s, of players saying, I'm no longer caring about where I play. I want to start looking at what I'm worth. And it really started to kick into another gear in the 2000 to 2010 decades. And now, as we move into the 2020 decade, it has become even more prevalent than ever. I mean, Aaron Judge might be the only example that is slightly different, but granted, he leveraged other teams to get what he wanted.
Mhm.
But you look at Blake Snell, you look at Shohei Ohtani, you look at Carlos Correa. Well, Carlos Correa is also again a kind of interesting sort there because he played for three teams in a matter of a month and a half. But that's besides the point. Bryce
Get
Harper,
started on that.
you know, yeah, but Bryce Harper, another one. Um, so I look at the 1990 decade as being the true color change in regards to players not worrying about who they play for, more as to how much they get to play.
You want to know when that changed? Do you not want to know when that changed? So
I mean,
I think
was it the 80s?
no, no, no. So you were right. It was the 90s. And so I or early 2000s, I tell people all the time, TV changed from family shows, Who's the Boss, Growing Pains, Family Ties, all these things, to more of an adult show, single life, with Seinfeld and Friends. Seinfeld and
Yeah,
Friends redid all of the family shows. When what you're talking about took place was when Alex Rodriguez signed a 10-year, $200 million contract with the
yeah,
Texas Rangers. That
yeah,
perked everybody's ears up, and that changed the face of baseball forever. Tell me I'm wrong, Sam.
yeah. No, no, you're right. Going from the Mariners to the Rangers and then moving up to the Yankees, it was a game changer for him.
Yeah. And
It,
and
it was game changing
I remember
for the
thinking to
league.
myself at about the same time that Alex did that. Well, maybe a year or two after Alex did that, I remember thinking to myself, a friend of mine got pre-qualified for a home loan and it was 400,000. And I remember thinking, who would ever pay 400,000 for a home, a tract home basically in a neighborhood that's 35 years old? Well, that same neighborhood now, that same tract home is going for $1.6 million out here in Southern California. So it
Yeah,
changes the momentum. So you bring up a great point, Sam. And like I say, I think Alex Rodriguez is what changed the face of that. I mean, he needed money
yeah, 100.
to hit up the clubs in Toronto, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would almost say Barry and Alex really started that track of. Now, again, Barry is a unique situation because of his history, but still, the Pirates almost matched what the Giants were going to offer him, but he went to San Francisco because of family and his
Yeah,
history.
yeah,
Alex
yeah,
went for the money.
yeah.
And I
Alex,
think
show me the
that's
money.
where, yeah. So,
Yeah.
speaking of Alex Rodriguez and the New
Well,
York Yankees, oh, you have one
before
other
we
thing?
move on, Sam, I think this is a good spot where before we move on, we ought to mention these corporate sponsors again. Dunkin' Donuts in South Orange County, fantastic group that owns those locations. They're great. Uh, I've been working with Andrea over there. She's absolutely awesome. Josh over at Drunken Gentleman, clothing apparel,
Yeah.
and then of
And
course
you can't forget
Ruby's.
Ruby's Diner. You
No,
can't
you can't
forget
forget
Ruby's
Ruby's Diner.
Diner.
I had a hamburger there on Friday night when we were there. Man, it was amazing. So I think it's important that we mention these guys because this is what is the lifeblood of TFR, and
A
we
hundred
appreciate that.
percent. 100%. And if I and correct me if I'm wrong, Ruby's Diner also was the host of the movie night
They were,
this
they
past,
were, they were.
watching Sandlot, I believe it was,
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there on the
So Sam,
PCH.
Ned thought on his feet because they didn't have the right cable to hook up the sound, right? And so we were slow getting started by about 40 45 minutes. And I'm talking to Ned afterwards over at Ruby's, and he says, "Yeah, it's just like having a rain delay." I'm like, "Perfect, perfect." So we had a rain delay to start.
Looping in the baseball references wherever we can. Well,
Yes.
we again, Bill, like you said, can't thank enough our corporate sponsors, Ruby's, Drunken Gentlemen's Clothing, and Dunkin' Donuts of South Orange County. Always thankful for your partnership, your sponsorship, and what you invest in us to put out such great content for our fan bases. We can't thank you enough for it. But let's touch on a change. We talk about changing of the guard with players, but we have to talk about a major changing of the guard with an organization because
Yes.
this
Yeah.
organization for years had a specific policy in place to have its players be clean shaven. And it was because of the legacy that this team brought to baseball. Well, that changing of the guard has officially become real, and the Yankees are now allowing their players to have clean facial hair. Clean facial hair. Let's keep this in mind.
Yeah.
Um, I Steinbrenner came out, put out a statement on Instagram and Twitter or X and all of those different social media sites saying that they are changing their facial hair policy. I know this seems like a little silly thing to talk about, but for this organization, this is a major change. Like drastically major change. Now, if you're listening to this on Bleacher Brothers Radio or, um, you know, on TFR, you're not seeing what I got on screen, but I got a couple of players on here from the previous teams that they were at with some facial hair options that we could be seeing come to the Yankees lineup. Um, Bill, what does this mean for the Yankees organization? To allow their players to finally put facial hair back on their faces and
You
play.
know, I I didn't
I
realize
know
how
it's
much of
silly,
a
but
I didn't realize how much of a brouhaha this was for people. Personally, I liked the fact that one organization wanted to be old school.
oh,
I,
God, of course you would.
I'm a little sad that it's going away, but you know what? It makes sense. I did get a call. I had to send it a voicemail, but I got a call from Willie Robertson over at Duck Dynasty asking if his beard was considered clean shaven, and I said, "Yeah, all you guys are clean shaven. That's clean right there. I mean, it's down to the middle of your chest. You're good to go." No, I'm teasing. But uh, you know, I liked the old school mentality. It's the Yankees. I hate to say this like this, but this is probably true. If you don't know baseball, from if somebody had to ask you who America's team was, just like the Cowboys are in football, it's probably the Yankees. And
I would
I
say the
hate to say
Cowboys
that as
were America. I would say the Cowboys were America's team. Now we're not trying to get back onto the football bandwagon. The Chiefs were knocked off, no three-peat. But I would not say that the Cowboys are still America's football team. They definitely are not. I would almost go to unfortunately say that the Chiefs are just with the track record that they've been on over the last 5 to 10 years. But again, story for another time.
yes, see now Sam has if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see Sam would be qualifying for the new Yankees policy. I have the old school Yankees policy on here. Either way though, to me it works, Sam. It really does. It's up to the player. Do I like the old school mentality? Yeah. Am I gonna cry in my milkshake over this? Nah, nah, it's not that
You
bad of a deal.
know, I hear you. Like I said, this is something very small to talk about, but my whole issue with the Yankees forcing players to be clean shaven was you're taking the individuality out of the players and not letting them be who they are on the inside.
Mhm.
You know, when you know when you look at the guys that I have on screen, if you're watching this on YouTube, I mean, these are guys that up until the point they played for the Yankees were facial hair guys, not clean shaven players. You know, so and I mean, if you look at them clean shaven to with facial hair, they look like different people. They completely look like different. Garrett Cole, when he cut his hair and shaved his beard, looked like a totally different person than when he was playing for Houston. I'm sorry, he
100%.
just did. So I like this because now it's almost like the Yankees are allowing their players to be who they are and allowing them to be uniquely themselves, which, from a mentality standpoint, it if you're a player and you can uniquely be yourself, you're gonna play better. You're gonna feel better on the field. You're gonna, just have more like I'm myself. I'm who I am. If you're forced to shave your face, cut your hair, pluck your nose hairs, all that good stuff, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm basically being forced into this perceived image. And am I myself? Do I feel good about it? I don't really know. So I like this. I think this is going to, as crazy as it's going to seem, this is going to change, I think, the mentality in the Yankees clubhouse because now you're going to see guys being a little bit looser, not feeling uncomfortable on the field, being able to again be uniquely themselves. So I like
I'll
it.
I'll tell you what though. I'll tell you what. If the Yankees go 70 and 92, they're going back to the clean shaven thing. If it,
That I will agree. That I will agree with. Um, I will say I have spoken to a couple of my Yankee fan friends, and they are actually very pleased with this. They've been begging to have this type of policy removed the from the Yankees repertoire of rules. Because again, they want their players to be themselves. They don't want them to be someone other than themselves.
right.
So, this was just a fun little topic we want to talk about. Uh, as someone that's lived in Yankee fandom for the majority of my life, I've always found this policy to be silly. So when they changed and I saw the notification, I was like, yes. But we can move on now from this. We'll see how they do. Hopefully, the Yankees go 90 and 72 rather than 72 and 90. But it's baseball. It's a long season. Anything can happen. But
So
as
what you're
we
what you're saying, Sam, is that you're gonna shave your beard if the Yankees are under 500 this year.
Absolutely not. This beard will never get shaven. I haven't seen what my face looks like under this beard in almost 12 to 15 years. So I would be scared to see what is under this beard,
There's
as
a
well as
chin
my wife.
there.
She would be very scared to see what's under this beard. She is threatened to leave me at some points for shaving my beard off. So I when she gets me mad, I threaten her with shaving my beard off. When I get her mad, she's like, if you shave that beard, I swear to God. I'm like, nope, nope, not doing it. Not doing it. Not gonna do it.
There you go.
Um, well, as we head into baseball season officially starting, spring training has already started. The regular season is approximately a month away, maybe, 33 days away from actually starting. We wanted to go over the top players per position in baseball. Now, we're not including DH position. This is strictly position players. So we're going to start with the outfield as we talk about this. And when we talk about the outfield, we're going to start from left and we're going to move over to right. So we're going to go left to right, just like a book. So starting off in left field, Jordan Alvarez is leading the charge as the number one out left fielder in baseball. Now, these rankings, if you're listening to this on Bleacher Brothers Radio, are according to MLB.com. Thank you, MLB, for giving us your opinions on this. But just going down the left field list, Jordan's first, Jaron Duran second, Ian Happ third, Christian Yelich fourth, Riley Green at fifth, Brandon Nemo sixth, Jackson Churio at seventh, Stephen Kwan at eight, Taylor Ward at 9, and Brian Reynolds wrapping up that top 10 list in the 10th spot. What are your thoughts on left field? Do you think this is accurate? Do you feel like there should be a guy should move up, a guy should move down? Should there be someone that should have been in this list? Bill,
So
let me have it.
so Jose Altuve is the left fielder, the starting left fielder for the Astros. Jordan won't be out there. That's number one. Number two, I'm surprised that they didn't give Teoscar Hernandez a little bit of love in this.
They have him later on the list.
Yeah. I like this list though. I would probably say I would put Riley Green and Jared Durant. I would move them up a little bit. Jared Durant, I would probably say is the number one left fielder in baseball. Riley Green and Jackson Cherio are great additions, great young additions. So I like this. I like that list.
Yeah, I think, I wasn't aware that Jordan Alvarez was not going to be the starting left fielder. Jose Altuve is listed on the second baseman's list.
Mm.
So this
Eh,
report obviously came out that, like, when I was doing this play, when we get to the first baseman side, Pete Alonso was still listed as free agent. So this was all done. This list was done a while ago. But I think if we're basing it off of the list as it stands, I agree with you. I would probably not put Jordan at the number one spot in left field. I would probably maybe put him. I would maybe move up Ian Happ and Jaron Duran into that 1-2 spot. Maybe drop Jordan to 3, maybe even fourth. Um, maybe switch Riley Green and Christian Yelich. I just think Christian Yelich is getting older, and I think with that, with age comes in the field specifically comes some regression. Obviously, still at the plate, Christian Yelich is a force to be reckoned with, but I think his fielding over the last 2 to 3 years has dropped slightly. So I'd probably put Riley Green up there. I'd even maybe drop Christian Yelich from a defensive perspective behind Brandon Nemo. Honestly, Brandon Nemo is going to watch Brandon Nemo this year. Just watch him. Because now having Juan Soto in right field, Brandon Nemo is really going to take charge of that left corner. And I can see him moving up on this list to be in the top 3 going into next year, not just from a defensive perspective, but even from a hitting perspective. That's my opinion on it. Uh, Moving over to center, because we got to get through this because we only have so much time to talk about
yeah,
this. Um, because I'm sure after we talk about outfielders, we're going to hit those corporate sponsors up just one more time, just to give them a
yeah,
lot more love.
100%.
Talking about center fielders, going down the list, we got Julio Rodriguez at 1, Jackson Merrill at 2, Byron Buxton at 3, Michael Harris the second at 4th, Mike Trout at 5, Brandon Marsh at 6, Dalton Varsho at 7, Garrett Mitchell at 8, O'Neill Cruz at 9, and Lou Bob at number 10. Bill, what are your thoughts?
Byron Braxton needs to go down to probably 4. I would do J Rod, Jackson Merrill, and Michael Harris the second. Michael Harris the second may not put up the offensive numbers that everybody once thought he was going to, but I'll tell you what, this dude can put up some defensive show. He is a defensive force to be reckoned with. So I like this. By the way, Mike
Yeah.
Trout's going to play right field. MLB's letting
See
you down today.
again. See again. This list was created prior to all of the changes that have come already. So do not IM me. Do not send me snail mail. Don't shoot me an email. It's not going to get responded to. I will file it so quickly you won't be able to blink before it's there.
Let me give you
Um.
Sam's phone number. It's area code. No, send him a text. No.
Uh. No. I think yes. Taking the list as it sits right now, understanding Mike Trout's moving over to right field. That was announced just a couple of weeks ago. But taking the list as it sits, I probably wouldn't even include Mike Trout in the top five on the right fielders list, just like I honestly don't think he's in the top five in center fielders right now. I'm surprised, even with the short amount of time he spent last year on the field, due to injury, Jung Hoo Lee did not make this list. Um, he's shown in the 3 months that he was playing that he is going to be a dominant center fielder. I think there are some other center fielders that could have moved up on this. Um, but I would almost put Mike Trout in that eight spot just based on his previous years and history of injuries. I can't see him in the top five spot, and I think they're taking a lot of what he's done in the past to give him validation to be in this top five.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
100%.
when I look at the top, but when I look at one, two, and three, I would, yes, could you move Michael Harris to that three spot? Yes, but I feel pretty confident in that one, two, and three that they got. I think Julio Merrill and Byron Buxton are three faces that in center field you're going to see for a while, and they're going to be dominant in that position. Um, so, Brandon Marsh, maybe I would probably drop him out of the top 10. I just, I look at him as a good fielder, but I don't look at him as a top 10 fielder, especially in center. Um, I think there are some other guys that could have taken that spot over. Moving into right, though, you got Aaron Judge at one. I think you and I can both agree that that is exactly where he should be, without a doubt. But moving down the list, you got Kyle Tucker at two, Juan Soto at three, Tatis at four, Seiya Suzuki at five, Corbin Carroll six, Ronald Acuna seven, Kerry Carpenter at eight, Matt Wallner at nine, and Teoscar Hernandez, your man, who got no love in left field, in 10th spot in the right field line. So looking at this list, what are your thoughts?
I don't know that I would. I would put Tatis above Tucker and Soto. I'd probably put Corbin Carroll and Ronald. I would probably, if I were going to do this list, I would probably do Judge, Tatis, Acuna, and then go Soto, Tucker. That'd be my first five. Carroll. Wow, actually, I think even Carroll moves a lot quicker than Juan Soto does. Juan Soto came into camp looking good, but I'll tell you what, when he signed that deal, he looked like he had one too many burritos.
All right, we don't need to go there. We don't need to go there. Um, Looking at this list in my eyes, Soto, the reason Soto is ranked so high is because he's an exceptional hitter, but an average fielder. He's an average, if not above average hit fielder. Hitting wise, you can't take anything away from the man. I mean, the guy put up 40 plus home runs last year, is a stud behind the plate, gives his little shimmy that we all know and most of us hate. Some people love, mostly those fans in New York. Mets Megan, don't DM me about it. I don't care what your thoughts are. This is my opinion. This is my show. You want to question it? Come on it. Um,
That's my show.
but I would, if we're looking at this from an offensive perspective, I think where he sits is right. If we're looking at this from a defensive perspective, I would not put Juan Soto in the top 10 of defensive right fielders in baseball. No way, no how. Not even close. Not even close. Um, but
Agreed.
we don't take things on one side or the other. We have to average everything in. So, you know, if I'm putting my top five on this list, I'd probably say Judge at one. Um, I would probably put Acuna at two just because he was injured last year, but he's gonna bounce back. It's not like I would not see that as being uncommon. I'd probably put Tatis at three, Tucker at four, and then I would put Carroll at five. Carroll is young. He's got a lot of upside. He's got the speed. He's got the excitement. He's got the, I'm trying to think of what the right word is. He's got the charisma to play that corner. You have to have like an edge and a charisma about you to play the corners in the outfield. You have to have this
100%.
like high energy, like I'm gonna get the fans involved.
Yeah.
So yeah, Carroll's got it. That's where I'd put him. I'd put him at right field, no question. At number five.
You know
And
what his
then
you know what his problem is he hasn't had enough Ruby's Diner or Dunkin' Donuts.
he
If
hasn't,
if he had more Ruby's Diner or Dunkin' Donuts, he might, who knows? If he was
yeah.
dressed out in drunken gentleman clothing, he might be a little bit, have a little bit more giddy up in his step. We just got to mention that, right?
Yeah, no, I think you make a really good point. I think, if he got more involved with our sponsors on a regular basis, his ranking would be higher.
Is
Now,
it?
that could change this offseason. I mean,
Who
he could say,
knows?
you know what, when I'm out there playing the Dodgers, I'm going to drive down the road. I'm going to go see Drunken Gentlemen's Clothing and I'm going to ask them to put something special together for me. And then I'm going to keep heading down the PCH and I'm going to go to Ruby's Diner, get myself a nice burger, maybe have them smash it with some good old fries and a milkshake. And then I'm going to head further down the road because I'll probably have been driving all night down the PCH at this point, and I'm going to say, "Hey, it's bright and early in the morning. Let me get my
Let's give
Dunkin'
me some
before I
Dunkin'
turn
Donuts.
around and have to drive 8.5 hours back to LA because I'm stuck in 6 hours worth of traffic." So,
I'm
I
I'm
think I
telling
think
you.
I played up our corporate sponsors in a nice little story right there.
Uh,
If you're looking for a good way to address each of those corporate sponsors, I'd go with my approach. But yes, Drunken Gentlemen's Clothing, Dunkin' Donuts in South Orange County, and Ruby's Diner. Thank you guys so much again for supporting us and doing everything you do to make sure we can do what we do for our fans. Now, moving
100%.
now, we talked about the outfielders. Now we got to talk about these infielders. Now, this is the big one. This is where the heart of things are on that diamond. You know, the real heart is behind the plate, but we'll talk about that in a second. But these are the guys that help make the guy behind the plate look really good. So we'll start at third base. Looking at third, we got Jose Ramirez at one, Rafael Devers two, Bregman three, Manny Machado four, Austin Riley five, Matt Chapman six, Nolan Arenado seven, Max Muncy at eight, Isaac Paredes, can't say that last name,
Redis. Redis.
Paredes at nine, and Eugenio Suarez at 10. What are your thoughts? Who should
How many
move?
baseball
Who should
teams are
not
there in
be
the
on
league?
here?
How many baseball teams are there in the league? There's 30, right?
Yes.
I would rank Manny Machado on this list number 31. And that's just a personal thing for me. No, this is
I,
this is actually,
I know personally that this is a personal vendetta for you. So
yeah. I listen, I think Matt Chapman needs to be a little higher on this list. So does Nolan Arenado. But number one, Jose Ramirez, you don't go wrong there. So Manny Machado, you're ranked number 31 on 30 teams. Appreciate you, buddy. Don't at me. If you're gonna
yeah,
at me,
no. W-
I go by social media, I go by Big Dave if you're gonna at me. Anyways, all right,
yeah, no. When I look at this list, I think Jose Ramirez has been given a gift being number one on this list, and I think it's based on the division he plays in.
mhm,
I
probably.
I think if you were to put Jose Ramirez in the NL West, the NL East, the AL East, he would he would not even touch the top 10. Not even close. He's a great player, not taking anything away from how he plays, but not even close to hitting the top 10. Um Looking at the rest of the list, I think Machado should definitely not be in the top 10. I agree. I think Matt Chapman, Nolan Arenado, and I'm even going to say Max Muncy should be moved up at least two spots. I'd probably keep them in the same order, Chapman, Arenado, and Muncy, but I would probably move Chapman up to four, Arenado to five, and Max Muncy to six. Um, because they've got one, Matt Chapman is just a beast on the field. He's a platinum glove winner, just like Arenado, spectacular hitter. Muncy's a little bit older now, but he still has so much petrol in the tank, it's not even close. Um, but yeah, I think Jose Ramirez is given a gift at one. Manny Machado somehow made it onto this, and I think it's based on his name. Um, and Devers is great. We talked about him earlier in the show, but I might drop him to seven. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good hitter, but again, similar to where he plays. If you move him out of the AL East, he's not going to be as successful in this position. He just won't. Um, let's talk shortstops. Bill, take me through the shortstop list.
Okay, you got Gunnar Henderson, you got Corey Seager, Francisco Lindor, Bobby Witt Jr., Mookie Betts, Dansby Swanson, Carlos Asbal Correa, Ellie De La Cruz, Willie Adames, and Trey Sexy Slide Turner. Um, Sam, talk to me, Goose.
Um, looking at the list, I would almost take this as a fairly accurate statement. I think it's pretty spot on. Um, maybe I'd move Mookie and Dansby and just flip them. But and maybe I drop Carlos to like nine and move Ellie and Willie Adames up. Trey has had some tough times in Philly, and I think that's been an impact for him. But I would not put him out of the top 10. So I think the list is pretty accurate. What about you?
Uh, I like the number one. I'm not sure if Corey Seager's healthy. Yes, I like that. Same thing with Francisco Lindor. I would move Bobby Witt up to number two. I think he's between two and one there. Mookie Betts only because he can play every position in bowl 300. Carlos Correa, you are ranked number 33 on a list of 30 people. Sorry about that. Ellie De La Cruz, I would move up to. If I were doing this list, I would probably say Bobby Witt Jr., Gunnar Henderson, and then I would do Ellie De La Cruz. Believe it or not, Trey Sexy Slide Turner would go from 10 to probably five. He's defensively, he's great. Offensively, he can be great. So, but moving on to second base, let's do it.
Yeah, when we talk about second baseman, we got Ketel Marte starting at one. Your boy Jose Altuve, who's now apparently going to be playing left field this year, is listed as number two on second base. Marcus Semien at three. Brendan Donovan at four. Jazz Chisholm at five. Tyler Fitzgerald at six. Brandon Lowe at seven. Nico Horner at eight. Andres Gimenez at nine, and Gleyber Torres leaving the Yankees to go to Detroit at number 10. What are your thoughts?
You know what? This list is fine with me because I'm looking at this list and I'm realizing there's not a lot of powerhouse second baseman, but Marte is a very, very, very good player. So
Yeah.
he plays in Arizona. Arizona doesn't get as much publicity as they probably should. But yeah,
Mhm.
no, yeah, he's lights out.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this list is good. I think maybe the what I would do is I'd say probably move out. Now, granted, Jose Altuve is now playing left field, so I don't know how his short legs are going to keep up with running all over that corner slot. But
Hmm.
we will see. I mean, his short legs work in second base because he's only got to go like you know 15 feet in either direction.
Yep.
Um, but I'm gonna be a homer here, as you know I like to do. And I'm gonna call out Tyler Fitzgerald and say he's gonna be a guy you want to keep a watch on this year. Because he came up in the second half of last year, you know, hit almost 20 home runs in half a year, came in and really did a great job in the shortstop spot. Now he is a natural second baseman. He's going to be a guy that's going to be pretty interesting to watch. So I would not be surprised if we see him next year even higher on this list, honestly. And that's again, that's me being a homer, but I have a lot of faith in him. Bill, take me to the first baseman. We got your boy starting off the list, so let me hear it.
So we got Freddie the Teeth Freeman leading the charge, right? Bryce Harper, Matt Olson, Vladimir. I'm going to be an angel at the end of the season. Guerrero Jr., Yandy Diaz, Wilson Contreras, Christian Walker. Thank you for leaving the National League West. Dodger killer Christian Walker. Pete, I can't find a jersey that fits me correctly. Alonzo is on there. Nathaniel Lau and Paul Goldie Goldschmidt. Love this list. I probably, if I was looking at offensive, I would probably switch 3 and 4. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I like Matt Olson being third because he's overall a better player. So,
Yeah,
yep,
look, personally, I would probably I might switch 3 and 4 around. I still think that it's pretty accurate, but I would probably drop Pete Alonso from 8 to 10 and move up Nathan Lowell and Paul Goldschmidt. I think Paul Goldschmidt has not been Paul Goldschmidt when he was on the Cardinals did not have the team around him to allow him to be super successful. I think now being on the Yankees, that's going to change because Paul is still got again a lot of petrol in the tank and is an exceptional first baseman. I would not be surprised if he has a comeback year this year.
I agree.
I
I
honestly would.
agree.
So we're gonna hold off on pitchers, relief starting pitchers, relief pitchers, and catchers. We're gonna bring that topic of conversation back up next week. We are going, but because of that, because as Bill and I always do, we run short on time every week, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Bill, take me. Let's talk about your schedule for this week
Oh,
on the podcast. Take me
oh
to
my
it.
gosh.
It's not
This sketch,
Valentine's week anymore, so
no.
ignore that part. But take me through the schedule.
American League with Ashley featuring Kenna this week. Kenna being a huge Astros fan, um, Ashley being obviously a huge Tigers fan. It was a great, great, great conversation. We focused in on what Kenna thought the Astros were going to look like for 2025. Um, Welcome to the clubhouse, Ivan, as a Chicago Cubs fan. Jay coming in hot on Wednesday, hump day, as a Tiger fan. Welcome to the clubhouse. Of course, you have your can of corn by your boy Big Dave. The following week will obviously be unraveling baseball with Mike, and then Friday we have College K. So we got a lot going on this week, man. It's good stuff.
Hey, I couldn't agree more with you. You know, as always, make sure you're checking out X for TFR. It's Sports Talk. It's fan involved every Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As well, Bill is doing his own baseball break this Monday. 3 hanger boxes of Topps 25 Baseball Series 1, the Fanatics exclusive box. This is a great box. You want to be involved in it. And Bill, you have a surprise coming with this one, right?
Yeah, yeah. Sam, it was funny. We've had such success with these box breaks. I think Mike and I are going to start having to do them every Friday night instead of every other Friday. But there was some demand where people had felt, man, I missed my team. One person texted me and said, "Hey, you guys launched it at noon. I got on at 12:15, and two of my teams were gone." I'm like, that's the way that rolls. So yes, we're gonna do this on Monday. This is gonna be a lot of fun. If you buy each team is $5. If you buy 5 teams, spend 25 bucks. Not only are you getting your 5 teams, but we're going to give you a mega pack. We're going to give you 36 cards unopened so you can do your own break. And if you film your own break, we may actually put you in to something where you might win something a little extra, extra. So this is going to
Look
be
at
fun.
look at that. We love it. Film your breaks. They're always good. We love to see the cards that you, the fans, pull. And let me tell you, those mega packs are awesome. You get some crazy stuff out of it. Might be,
Yes, you
who
do.
knows? Might be an auto, might be a game used memorabilia, might be a patch. It could be anything.
I
Make
pulled
sure
the
you are getting
I
in
pulled
this
the
break and
rookie
make sure you get those 5 teams.
I pulled the rookie Seattle guy. I forget his name now. But I pulled a relic out of one of those mega packs.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday. I saw you put that video up. I was very impressed with that pick. That was a crazy
Yes.
pick. And then
Yep.
this Wednesday, Bill is doing a virtual TFR event. Make sure you check out topfanrivalry.com to see that event and get yourself registered for it. As well, always make sure you're checking out Tuesdays and Thursdays with Baseball Bill in the Leagues is back. And with baseball season, who knows? That Tuesday and Thursday might get grown. There might be more days if we get a demand for it. So make sure you're checking out in the leagues. It's an awesome 30-minute session. Bill's runs through what he's seen in baseball. It's only on Instagram, so make sure you're checking it out. This coming Friday, if you haven't gotten involved yet, make sure you get to topfanrivalry.com. We are doing a 2025 Top Series 1 hobby box break. Things to be on the lookout for: Paul Skeens Rookie Cup, a Jackson Holiday and Ellie Dela Cruz Future Stars cards. And then you got Dylan Cruz and Connor Norby rookie cards. And also the 35th anniversary of the 1990 Topps inserts. Those cards are awesome. I've seen the Topps Series 1 collection already. I've been involved in 5 out of 6 breaks with Heads Up Sports cards in the last week. And let me tell you, these cards, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
Yes. So I got to
Bill,
tell
any
you
final
real quick.
comments for the fans out there?
I got to tell you real quick. I bought my own personal hanger box about a week and a half or so ago, and I opened it up. I got the Paul Skeens Rookie Cup, and I got the Don Mattingly 1990 throwback. It was great. So,
It's
um,
these are
no,
awesome cards. Make sure you get involved. Bill, any final comments for the fans out there?
no, make sure T-shirt club is still in full effect. We got everything else going. We want to thank our corporate sponsors again, Ruby's Diner in Laguna Beach. We want to thank South Orange County Dunkin' Donuts, and we want to thank Drunken Gentlemen, along with the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Thanks for putting us on, fellas over there, AJ and crew. Love to see it. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube page. Make sure that you're following us on all of our socials, including Twitter. So, Sam, I got nothing else. It's a mic drop, man. Let's go.
Bill, take us out like you always do, my friend. Finish it up.
Go fight win.
That's right. We're ending ATD on a go fight win attack. We thank you so much for joining us. Like Bill said, make sure you check out Top Fan Rivalry for new articles, podcasts, merch. Join the T-shirt club if you haven't yet. Check out the virtual events, the exclusive fan events, and next year's Top Fan Rivalry Fan Fest. It's going to be electric. I thank you so much for joining us today on ATD, and we'll see you on the field next week.